everyone, welcome back to the Wings engine, the second Open Series tutorial. Today, let's take a look at some built-in properties of our extension class. Today, we will mainly talk about two important built-in attributes. One is element, and the other is projects. First, let's take a look at the code from the last class. Our code. It's here. We can see this code, actually copied from our software. Directly copied from it. Let's review it again. Here we have a call code example. We can see that it can be directly copied. After copying it, let's take a closer look at this code. It is first this the element. That is to say, when we put such a piece of this class attached to our components. When we attach it to our components, then it's this element property will directly point to the current component. And this element can be used to get options, set options. Set options, including adding event listeners here, or other methods. And other methods we will learn later. We will gradually expand on them. This is the most common attribute, and we use it the most. The second attribute is our project attribute. For each element, it actually belongs to ours. Such a big project. Such a big project. What about the project attributes? The most important one is actually because our API has. The first one is elements, has options, set options, and data-related methods. We will discuss them in the section on data. And event-related methods. Add event listener. Then we talked about listeners and active triggering events. These are the main types. Of course, there are some other methods. We don't use these methods very often. Mainly the first three. The last four. Among other methods, the more commonly used ones may be getting children and get parents, which is a whole, to get the number of layers. This is the element for the project, mainly for getting and setting values. And what is project value? Here, there is a section called Project Settings. In the project settings, there is a project parameter. Such a parameter. What exactly does this project parameter do? We can directly refer to the project parameters in our documentation. We can simply look at this article. The project parameters are mainly for everyone too. to set some variables. What can these variables do? For example, I can use this variable to control my database. For example, I can have a where in my database. For example, I want to check the sales in North China. Sales in North China. And tomorrow, I want to see the sales in East China. Then I can use the data parameters to directly control the data in the back end to filter. Instead of filtering on the front end, then I can write in the CQ statement, select the homophone from to check the database, where area equals this. For example, we can set a cell. Cell area. Then we set where equal to cell area. Then we can use our secondary development. Or we can directly modify it here. Directly modify it or through. Or UAL to cover this. Overwrite this parameter. Including. We can modify this parameter through interaction. When the parameter value is modified, our data will be automatically refreshed. And this parameter value. Of course, I'll explain this in the later. In the course. Today, we mainly look at this project. Today, we will mainly focus on. Yesterday, we went to. The two methods we used yesterday. The first one is getOption. And the second is setOption. Let's expand and look at these two methods. Yesterday when we wrote it, we said that const x and y equal to this dot getOption. Many students may ask me, when I use this kind of such as this property, or the one we used in the last class, or this property, how do I know whether I should use an array to receive it? How do I know what format it is? That's also very simple. Generally, for an attribute like this, component size, how do we know its format? When we open the call code example, don't look at this part, but look at the setting options. The value in the set option is the specific format. We can see that it is a two-dimensional array format. So, in our code, use a two-dimensional array to receive it. What other formats can we use? For example, let's take a look at this one here. This is called the legend item interval. Legend item spacing. Let's see what its format is. In the code, the example, we can see that 20 is a pure number. So here, I should use a direct variable. And I know it's a number type. For example, our color. What does it look like? We can also look at the example. It is a string. It is actually expressed in such a hexadecimal. To express it, then we can directly know here. It will be a hexadecimal string. Okay, in addition to this, we may also encounter two special cases, such as the first one, the legend type. Legend type, it's a choice. Let's take a look at it first. When I choose the normal, how do we know this is normal? What value it represents? Let's look at this one. This normal is written as plan. Because of the ordinary, it might be Norway. Or it could be something else. Or Carmen, right? Here it is written as plan. We must pay attention. That is to say, I must rely on the set value to judge it's true. The get value I can get. For example, I want to know the page. For example, I want to make a button. Click the button. I want to change the legend type to translation. But I don't know what value the translation should be. I don't know what the string is. What should I do? Then I can only click the page turn first. And then click here. Click Generate Data Field. Sorry. I clicked wrong. Click on the call code example. I see OK. The translation is called scoring. Now I'll cut it back. OK, copy this code first. And cut it back. Then I'll copy this code. For example, copy it to the readings. OK, like this. I have successfully set it to as scored. Let's take a look at the effect. In the readings, set it to score. Let's refresh the code here. Because I have that here. I can't find it. We can see that the picture has been translated. Of course, we also have an animation here. We are in the last class. I'll comment it out first. Let's pull this value back. Pull it back to this position. Okay, let's take a look. Now let's take a look at this. Has been set to page turning. Okay, it's relatively low. That it has automatically set to page turning. This is what I did through the code to directly set it to translation here. If I need to know, for example, here is the same. I want to know what the value of adaptive and custom, what the value of this is. I just need to change it. Okay. This is one type, such as this one. Multi-choice, single choice, or a drop-down list. It's the same. After we select one, we can check its value. Let's take a look. It's called top right, right? Let's say we click this. What is it called? It's called left. Okay. You just need to select it. And then copy it. And you'll know its value. Of course, if you need to know all the values. The current way is to select them one by one. Okay, there is another special type, such as this text. Text style is just this font, or other complex types. The complex type is the same. We need to click and take a look. So, for example, we know that this complex type is actually a JSON string. At this time, if I want to change its size, right? I need to build a complete, such a string, to change it. This string contains all the, such as family, which is our all. The font type, of course, this is the default. Then size is the font size, which corresponds to this value. Then the color is the color behind it. Then there are bold, italic, underlined, and held. This blue face, which is the crossed out one. This line, okay. As you can see, this complex type, we can also set it directly. That is, directly viewing its structure. We can use secondary development to call coding examples. To understand its specific structure. By understanding this structure, I can get it when I get it. For example, when I get it, I know that I am getting a JSON value. I want to know what the current size is. What should I do? I should be able to structure it. For example, I just need the size. Okay, then I've got the size. We can focus on referring to this assumption. I also want to get the family. Okay, let's do this. This must be written correctly. In this way, we can know that the code structure of this complex settings item. Okay. Today, let's summarize this class. We mainly looked at the extension beam. 2 built-in attributes. One is element, and the other is projects. Element corresponds to the current component, and the project, which corresponds to the current entire project. Its most important method is getOptions and setOptions. We have just explained this in detail. Okay, the most important methods on projects are getValue and setValue. These are the parameters of our project, which will be explained in detail in the section. Here we will add that. That is to say, after we set the setting options, getOption, we can use the to do this, to change the value of all styles. But sometimes, we hope that when the style value is changed, our our secondary development code can get the message. How to do this? We have a very confusing method. On the elements. And another one on the extension. There is a property change event. Please note that this property refers to custom attributes. When it changes, custom attributes. We'll talk about it in the later course. What we are talking about here is the attributes in our style. Let me show you. This debugging. This is called a custom attribute. These are the attributes in the style. So how do I listen to? The method of monitoring the attributes in the style? When they change. This method is here. In the element. In its events. The event-related methods are adding event listeners. There is an option changed. Then we need to pay special attention here. Because when we directly listen to an option, it will not be listened to. Because if any option that is being listened to will be listened to, our performance would be very poor. So we have a requirement in this code. That is, it must read the options field 4 times. That means you must have get this option. If you don't need to get it anywhere else, and you want to listen to its changes first, then you can directly get it above the change listener. Get it once first, just like the prompts in our code. So, for example, if I want to listen to it when ready, to listen to it first. So here, suppose we write like this. Okay. Okay, and then? Note that we are using TypeScript's syntax here. So we need to delete these types. Then we log here. Okay, log that this has changed. This value has changed. Of course, you may ask how to get this value. You can still use this way to get it. Let's assume we just take this one. Let's take this value below. Just take this value. Just take this value. Then we'll use get again. Assuming when its position changes. I want to print it. X cola plus OK. OK. Colon plus OK. OK. Note that this place here, we need to replace it with the one in our getOptions. This. Okay. Of course, we can also print the invent here. We can see that. That is to say, we read this property. Once this property changes, it will enter the event listener. Let's print this again. Okay. Let's see the effect. Refresh it. After refreshing is done, let's open this. You can see that. How many times it has been printed? Let's just a little bit. This is what was printed before. Let's clean it up. Let's move its position. Okay, when I release it, I can see OK. These two values have been printed. And we can also see in our events. This one. This. It's a prompt that the position has changed. So, we can also use this judgment. For example, if ev.pass pass equals. Okay. Okay, through this way of writing, to judge whether it is equal to. Of course, here, whether this pass can equal it. It's better to convert it to a string. Let's test it first. This is why we can use debugging to judge whether we can do this. Okay, let's send it, okay? This proves that it is not printed, so we need to do this. For example, because here we have an array, but this array may not have only one value. So we need to stringify it. one more. Okay. After we stringify it, we can directly use this kind of in the form of a string so that it can ensure such a result. Let's refresh it again. Okay, we can see that it will be printed out. So here, you must check first what the structure of this invented .pass is, and then use this structure to judge it. Otherwise, because we actually have some passes, maybe very long. Here, we can take a look. For example, there is this kind of, which we call a cluster. So clusters have nests, several layers of such a structure. Why is it an array here? The reason is here. Otherwise, we would just use position, right? For this case, it may nest several layers, or even an array. So everyone must first print out this event, just passed in this event. And then, based on the printed results, we can set a condition for it. In this way, we can accurately judge. Okay, now it's the position that has changed. Not other attributes have changed. If you don't need precision, you don't need this if judgment. Here, what we add is that we can use getOption, setOption to modify this attribute value. Today, we are going to see how to use event listeners to get the value of this attribute. When the property value changes, the result of the change, and listen to this event. Okay, that's all for today's class.